The madness is not in there, but out here. The madness is in the fact we still have these places.
Oh, I wish to God that Clive had never gone to that place. And I still wish he'd never gone into that place. And I wished it when I first went there, and I'm wishing it still.
I can't see why such a place should be allowed to exist. I don't see why these people should have to suffer. They have a right to live.
If you knock the place to the ground and built it again, the culture will rise with the walls. It still would not be a fit place for any person to live.
I think they should be all closed. There shouldn't be that place to go to get rid of the problem.
This could be your home, it could be mine. The people who live here are some of the 3 or 4% of Australians who were born with or acquired through something like a car accident an intellectual disability.
Institutions can't get better. They've got less violent over the years, but they certainly don't encourage people to grow and develop. And after institutional reform maybe going down the tube, no, they want to get better.
80 officers fought to contain the blaze, but they were unable to rescue 9 intellectually disabled men, many of whom had been living at the cottages for more than 20 years.
These places don't make the news often, only when there's a disaster, a scandal, a tragedy that reaches outside.
Residents are physically abused.
You don't hear much about life inside, about the scandal every day.
It's the rule of the fist from the staff to the residents.
The tragedies you hear about are followed by inquiries.
Intimidation and threats of violence.
There are libraries of them, finding much the same.
Almost every large institution in Australia has had an inquiry at one time or another, some of them more than once. And on no occasion that I can think of has there been evidence that institutions were, well, at the bottom line, good for people.
It's difficult for direct care staff to report issues because if they do, they have fear that they will be punished by their peers.
Victimised?
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Yes.
So you learn in time to conform?
Yes.
Turn a blind eye?
Well, there's something more than that. It is, what happens is if you see it and you don't report it, then you become compromised. Once you become compromised once, you're basically compromised forever.
Certainly there are times when I've sort of come home and thought I should do something about that, or I should have done something about that, and I didn't. And so, and once you've done that, you've then put yourself in the same situation as the rest of the staff.
Eileen Tone expresses a common concern that Challoner itself retards, that inactivity, acquired behaviour and a relentless routine of sedation compounds the disabilities.
You're reducing their capacity to learn the behaviours that you want them to learn, the adaptive behaviours. And so you're not only sedating the problems, you're also masking all the good behaviours or the things that you want to encourage as well.
You're limiting their opportunity to actually progress.
Mm.
And how much is the medication there, do you think, for the benefit of the resident or the convenience of the staff?
Well, I don't think it's for the benefit of the resident at all. It is just convenience, that it's far easier to have a person who sits and does nothing than a person that you've got to actually try and interact with and stimulate and teach in some way.
The routines seem mind-numbing enough, often not much more to look forward to than mealtime.
I've seen people eat a 3-course meal and have a drink in 9 minutes, and that would be physically impossible for you and I, who have perfectly adequate swallowing mechanisms. I've been there, and because of the pressure of the first group having to eat their meal so that the second group can come in, staff having to say, hurry up, we've got to get out, ready for the next lot.
Where is the privacy in communal bathing, open bathrooms and toilets without doors? Violence is also part of the routine. Resident upon resident, resident upon staff, staff upon resident. It's an ongoing routine too, and one extremely difficult to investigate.
The police often don't follow up on cases of abuse because they find it too difficult to prove anything.
Beyond the chemical straitjackets and brutality of their own, there are other methods of control. These are containment rooms in Allison Hostel, which goes by the nickname Allison Hostile. The residents know the rooms as time out. "I don't like time out," said one young woman when we showed her these pictures.
I walked into the area on this day and saw her bent over a chair, crying her eyes out, holding a doll. And I bent down or squatted on the floor next to her, and she just threw herself into my lap and was just bawling her eyes out. And a staff member walked past and I said, "What is wrong?" He just said, "She does it all the time, don't worry about it." Yeah, that sort of behaviour is fairly normal.
Counter-demonstrations followed.
200 people at today's rally.
Some of those protesting about the decision, seen as a setback to institutional reform, were some of Challoner's own staff.
My experience is that the Challoner Centre most definitely should close. It's not an environment which supports people to learn, grow and develop. It's not an environment that I'd want to, as a parent, be placing my relative.
But you work there. You're saying, get rid of my job.
Yes, I hope to lose my job. I'd love to lose my job. I'd love to lose the institutions because it's a model of service that is no longer supportive of people.